जयपुर वाया कोटा
कृपया ध्यान आपो अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
Lucknow Junction.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವವರೆಗೆ
Hyderabad Bhattacharjya Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন कृपया ध्यान दियो
The fans turn up at the Chinnaswamy, so RCB has to make sure they're entertained because we've seen it all from cruising to crash landing to a rescue by DK. We've pretty much seen it all in today's game. They got Gujarat out for 147 and then they almost lost their way, but then DK came to the rescue and they won this game in 13.4 overs. Faf and Virat gave them the opening stand that they required and then there was a scare and then there was a rescue. We're back at Cricbuzz Live. I'm here with Polly Kaka and with Joy Bhattacharya. Gentlemen, what do we make of this game? We thought this is going to be one-sided with the things...
It's not a game.
Yeah.
Firstly, I just want you to know that this is not a game. This was... Rohit Shetty entertainer which had been made and all the elements had to be done. So there was a certain amount of wickets that had to be taken, runs had to be scored, Faf had to score, Virat had to get runs, everything was there. Okay, this is a super hit game.
That's what it was.
That's all you want.
Yes. We could see all the emotions in the stadium, from the screaming to the shouting to the tears to the praying to the nail biting to everything.
I think the honest assessment of it is the way those two teams played in this game is the reason that they were sitting at that stage of the table. Because they could have taken the game by the scruff of the neck at any stage, but they didn't. They kind of opened the door and allowed the others back in. But I suppose RCB go away with the fans thoroughly entertained, with the points in the bag and having increased their net run rate or improved it. So they won't be too upset. But yeah, I think as a coaching staff, you go away from that scratching your head thinking, what was on the go there?
Well, what was on the go? Because they lost their first wicket for 92 runs and then they were 117 for 6.
6th, 7th, 9th, 10th, 11th. They lost wickets in all these overs.
Wow.
So it's literally, it was like a cavalcade, one after the other, they kept losing wickets. And in the beginning, they were just hitting it down the throat of mid-wicket or, and then Noor Ahmed came in, started, questioning the batters, getting Virat Kohli, which was a vital wicket. And then, except for a really, by his standards, below par Rashid Khan over, which really opened the doors again for RCB.
Well, if Rashid's shoulder was all right and Rashid was the Rashid we knew, things could have been different. But he came in and got hit around for 3 4s and then a couple of 2s in that over.
Yeah, you got a feel for him at this stage. He probably wouldn't have been too confident coming into the game and then he gets the rap on the shoulder. And those are sore. When you get hit directly on there as a bowler, you try everything you can to warm it up, but you don't feel comfortable. And that was probably the case for him. And especially after the way Noor Ahmed went, I mean, he was brilliant. He bowled beautifully in the SA20 that we witnessed. I think he played like 6 games, got 12 wickets, I think it was, averaging 11. And his economy rate in that series was like 5.5. He went away for the finals. His team made the final, but he had to go away for international duty. So I think he's been a real find as well. And the mystery that he possesses is kind of what Rashid Khan used to have, because not a lot of people have played against him. And you watch the footage, you don't really get understanding for what he's capable of doing. And that's what we saw from him today. So he went really well.
Well, Rashid has been his mentor. To see Noor doing what he did, especially the ball to get Virat out. He troubled him with that ball earlier. And then the next ball, which was a similar delivery, he got out that ball.
No, absolutely. I thought Noor bowled beautifully. And at that stage, to pin Virat down into a situation is just absolutely amazing. And I think that's what Rashid is doing. For the circumstances, once those wickets were down in there, 2-3 wickets, there's a little bit of doubt. See, that's what leggies need. They need you to be a little bit tentative, because it is, the batter who can go after them and really run down the crease at them, it's more difficult for them to play. But once you're stuck in your crease and you're wondering which way the ball's going to turn, that's where Rashid and Noor are the most deadly. And I think that's what Noor did so beautifully. Once the batsmen were rooted at his crease, he just didn't give them, they weren't reading him at all.
Yes. Well, today has been that kind of a day, Polly Kaka. Usually it is Mr. Joy Bhattacharya's phone that makes the noises. But today's been historic because we almost thought
that... Is it his phone or is it his watch?
It's the watch.
Oh, it's your watch.
Siri was talking to me.
We
She
thought
said she didn't catch that.
we thought you got a call to ask for some more coaching tips. We thought the call came in very quickly.
Yeah, on his coaching, there's a lot of things. So look, at Cricbuzz now, we have 2-3 careers that we are trying to follow on a regular basis. One is CB to RCB, that's Dinesh Karthik. So that's one career that we are following with a great deal of interest because, and now...
Coach Saab.
Exactly, Coach Saab. We need him as an IPL coach. So the word is out there.
The word is out there, but yeah, we will be rooting for you, but we really love you in the chair, so we don't want you to go away that as well. But let's have a look at the points table because RCB have managed to jump up to number 7 and they've managed to shave off 0.3666 from their net run rate. So that is a big positive for them and their hopes stay alive. However much a miracle it is, the hopes still stay alive.
Yeah, barely stay alive, and obviously they'd have to win their next 3 to give themselves half a chance to get to that 14 figure. But while there's hope, there's life. So we'll have to wait and see what they produce. But I still think they need to be playing better cricket than they have. They were brilliant in that run chase the last time. This one, not as impressive. But they'll be feeling better about themselves because they've had a little bit of a good run. And they'll be hoping that it's not too late. But as Joy pointed out, I think it is.
But even for Gujarat now, Joyda, because even if they win all their games, they reach 14.
They reach 14. So yeah, literally what you're having is today, given with the way the table is, and with Punjab playing tomorrow, you could really have a situation where 4 teams can only reach 14. If Punjab lose tomorrow, then they lose 7, then they can only win 7, and then they also get rooted at 14. That means basically 7, 8, 9, 10's upward limit becomes 14, and that really then closes the table. A lot of things then become much easier for the 6 teams on top. So then it's between the 6 teams on top. You'll be looking at them then.
But even for Gujarat now, it's going to be winning everything and then hoping for a whole lot of calculations and...
Yeah, Gujarat also is the same.
Yes.
Punjab is the only one who they can win 4 in a row. It's still in their own hands. If they reach 16 with a good run rate, they're almost surely through. But no, Gujarat is the same as Bengaluru. In fact, I'd say Bengaluru is a better space than Gujarat right now.
What you would say, though, is if you don't win half your games, should you really be in the knockout phase? Not really.
No, there's no.
If you end up on 14 points, that's why, I mean, no one in the 10-match scenario
has ever
qualified on just 7. So there's always been 8 victories or 7 and a bit of rain that have got them through. So I agree with that. I think if you only win 50-50, no place for you in the knockouts.
But the RCB fans have been waiting for many years. So
14?
it's just for the RCB fans who've been so loyal that you hope and want a miracle for the fans more than anything else. But I want to quickly have a look at the innings progression again because it just went away so quickly. I didn't know what hit us because the first 6 overs, 92, they lost 1 wicket. And then that 7th to 10th, they have got only 20 runs and lost 4 wickets.
Yeah, well, we have a look at those comparisons. I mean, in all honesty, the game is won by Bengaluru in their first 6 overs, 92 for 1, because your comparison of 20 for 4 knocks out 23 for 3. And then 40 for 1, you've got 41 for 2 or 38 without loss. Those are kind of parallel. But the big turning point was obviously that striking up front. That thankfully they did, because if they hadn't and they'd started to lose those wickets, it could have been a real issue for them. But both the power play and that little spell, to see wickets fall as quickly as it didn't look like a dodgy surface.
Yes.
But anyway, what did we say?
It was like catching practice.
Yeah,
it was
catching practice.
They just kept going. Here you go, catch. Here you go, catch.
Boom, boom.
Well, they were giving a whole lot of catching practice, but there was someone at the top who kind of gave them the start that they wanted, and Faf Du Plessis made sure that RC would be home with the start he gave them, which is why he is our Omnigel Spray Performer of the Day. He ensured that there was no pain for the fans, and he gave them that start, which kind of let them get those 20 for 4 in those middle overs. We still knew that they have enough and more batting to get them home.
Yeah, when he got to 92 for 1, he would have thought there would have been no pain. But there was a little bit of pain in the mid overs, but then eventually getting over the lines. But it was impressive. He hasn't been in his best touch, and that's probably his best innings that we've seen him play. He was really destructive. I thought he was quite clever too. At this stage of the tournament, when you've got new guys that come in, bowlers like Little. I mean, Little ended up picking up forfeit, but it was at the back end of his spell. But when you've got these guys who've been on the bench, sitting on the side for 5 weeks or whatever it may be, only really been involved in net bowling and maybe middle practices, it's a big ask to ask those chaps to come in and do a job. And Faf identified that. And when those new guys came on, he said, okay, here we've got the one guy making his debut. He put them under immense pressure and cashed in.
But Faf, we've been speaking about the mega auction as well. He seems extremely fit. He seems raring to go. Today was one of those days when Virat, today and even the last match actually, Virat was at the non-striker enjoying the view. Last time was Will Jacks, today was Faf Du Plessis.
Absolutely. And I think that's one thing Virat does very smartly, sees the target, sees the total, sees what they have to do, and then he plays his part. And if the guy on the other side is going well, he just allows it to go, feeds the strike of them. And I think Faf was in that kind of mood. It was important, I think, also for RCB, for whatever chances they have left, for Faf to be in form. So Faf was the only one of those three who's not in form. Now he's in form as well. I don't know about Maxwell and where his head is at, but at least you have 3 solid batters in form. And Rajat Patidar failed today, but he's had 2 or 3 very impressive innings. So you've got a top 4 in form for RCB right now.
The top Faf Du Plessis gave them the start, and which is why he was our Omnigel Spray performer of the day. He ensured there was no pain for the fans. For all RCB fans, they'll hope and pray that he continues this form and the momentum carries on for Faf Du Plessis. I'd like to have a look at the batting card. Like I said, it went by so quickly. There was Virat and Faf Du Plessis who gave them that start. And then 1, 2, 4, 1. That's what those 4 middle order batters did until DK came to the rescue. And he's been making CB's flag fly high at RCB, isn't he?
Yeah, he's been really good, Dinesh, hasn't he? I mean, he's answered any calls, and he won that game single-handedly, earlier on in the season. And once again, just steering the ship. But have a look at that. We talked at the start of the show about the international batters and the 4 overseas batters. that scorecard isn't such pretty reading for those international stars. So, yeah, I suppose that would be a little bit of a concern for them once again. But I think it really did take a lot of pressure off Faf at the top. And then little DK's little cameo to calm the nerves at the back end.
Joyda, lots has been spoken about Glenn Maxwell. He comes in as this big star player, but considering the amount of wickets that had fallen, you would expect Maxwell to just play a little more sensibly, which he didn't today.
Maxie's been an enigma for all the time. I mean, you remember that the year that Punjab qualified for the finals, he had 4 man of the matches in the first 5 matches, then he disappeared for the rest of the tournament. I mean, he's one of those players. He'll play a match like the innings like he played against Afghanistan in Mumbai and not be there for the rest of the tournament. So he's one of those people, you literally have to carry him around for that one match in which he's going to change your fortunes totally. So
Isn't it a bit too expensive to carry him around for that one match?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, Australia can afford it. They have that kind of batting and bowling that they can afford it. So that, when he gives them something, he can. But I think there's a far more responsibility on him on a team like RCB. And I genuinely feel with all respect to Maxwell as a player that he's not given them. He's not given them enough by far.
So clearly there will be a question mark on the mega auction next year with Glenn Maxwell and how the season's gone for him.
Yeah, I mean, I do remember, if I get my scenario right here, there was another season that he played for Punjab where he didn't hit 1 6.
Yeah, 128 runs, not a single 6.
And he went back into the auction and got more in the auction than he did from that year. So when you say the auction's coming up, I think people live in hope of what they've seen. I mean, he got 100, as you say, against Afghanistan, or 200. He got 100 against Netherlands, I think, and Delhi as well. And when he gets going, he can be relatively destructive. But the signs, I mean, we don't know, but the signs coming out of the dressing room that he felt like he needed a mental break and that he wasn't in a good space. I don't know how quickly that kind of mental state goes away. So to have a short break and then be thrust back in, I'm not too sure. But as Joyce said, I mean, this was the perfect opportunity, even to take 2-3 balls.
Just, get into the groove of things.
Just find the middle of the bat a couple of times.
Also, mental break, okay, everyone has it. I mean, it's a difficult thing. IPL is a high-pressure tournament. I can understand all that. But 5 days into your mental break, they not then go into a press conference, announce which team of the Major League Cricket you've been a part of, because that's then disrespectful of the people who are now you're not playing in the dressing room of RCB, saying that, oh look, I'm going to play for another team. I'm going to break off from my current team because I'm not in the mental state. I shouldn't be making announcements for another team. So that I thought was a bit, that will not...
And then he came back in 5 days.
Yeah, exactly. So that will not go back, that will not go down well in the dressing room because, it just shows that where was your head at, or what is your head at? Is it you? And those are the kind of questions that, teams need to be answered, because one of the things is, again, we've been talking it for a long time, that all the teams in the IPL are reasonably talent-wise. All of them have enough talent to win it. There are very few teams that you have, they just do not have enough talent. So if you say of these 10, 8 have enough talent, then what separates them? It's the guys in the team room, it's the kind of cohesion they have, the kind of team spirit they have, and things like what Maxwell did just are not good. They're not good for the cohesion of the team.
Well, they will want to ask these questions in the team, but on a positive note for RCB, the bowlers' performance today or the Virat-Faf partnership, what is the bigger takeaway for them?
Yeah, I think the bowlers were brilliant. I mean, if you look at them, I know you've got some international experience in someone like Siraj, but I think everyone stepped up. Dale, I was really impressed by his spell. He could have picked up a wicket or two up front, but came back strong. So I think they'll be very happy with the local bowlers and what they managed to produce. Even Cam Green's performance was really good. Sometimes you kind of look at him as maybe a part-timer. He doesn't always get his 4 overs. But his areas that he hit, the trouble he caused, all of them were impressive. And so that's the real positive takeaway. And then those initial, 6 overs, or 5.5 or whatever it was, until Faf got out, where they were really dominant. And from a team perspective, we always talk in these T20 tournaments. If you get a partnership up front, if your two get firing and lay a foundation like they did, you invariably go on to win games. They tried their best to turn that around. But that is good signs for them for the rest of the tournament.
Well, Joy, they're going from one bowling side to the other. We'll have a look at Gujarat's bowling. They tried their best to get things back. Joshua Little got 4 wickets in his 4. My concern was, we know Rashid was a little injured, but would you have liked to see Noor come into the power play and be a little more attacking with that move?
Absolutely. Look, they would have thought about Noor in the power play. Their big problem is that actually Mohit Sharma is not the kind of bowler that they usually want to bowl in those conditions. Mohit Sharma is a first change bowler. He likes to come into the ball scuffed up a bit. But the problem is, because they've had to play Vijay Shankar in, they couldn't get that extra fast bowler in. So instead of Josh Little opening the bowling with somebody else, it's Mohit Sharma who had to open. And that basically put all their plans, into a topsy-turvy situation. I still say, I agree with you, given the circumstances, normally they would have tossed the ball to a Rashid in the power play. And Rashid was not there. His shoulder was injured while batting. He wasn't looking the part. So obviously they couldn't do it to that. But therefore they had. But I still feel you're absolutely right. They should have gone to Noor, given him a chance at least. Look, you're 147. You're not going to defend it. The only way you're going to win this game is by taking wickets. So your best wicket-taking option was Noor. I would have gone for him. Definitely.
And also, they haven't seen too much of Manav. Like you said, he's been bowling in the nets and he's not really had match practice. And then Faf kind of took the attack to him. So strategically, do you think GT missed a thing or two?
Yeah, I don't know if they were forced into it. I don't know if Rashid said, listen, I need some time to get my shoulder warm. But you can see he comes in the power play, goes for 13. And you could see that Faf and Virat were very keen on this debutant. Okay, let's work out what he's got. There was, after the first ball, they were down discussing this is what he is. And then they quickly came up with a plan to put him under immense pressure. And you, on your debut, it's a difficult situation to deal with. There's 2-class international players that are coming up against you and trying to put you under pressure. Little was a wonderful recovery, because even his first 2 overs, Faf climbed into him. But he showed some character, which is good for him to end up with those 4 wickets. So
like
there was a little to celebrate.
Waiting for it. Like Polly said, little to celebrate for GT. So lots for Ashish Nehra to go back to the drawing board and get things into order for them, because they will want to win everything from here.
They will want to win everything from here. They also need to just, calmly look at what they also... I mean, I'll be honest with you, they're one look at the playoffs and whether they can win all the games. Another look at the big auction and say, okay, what are we going to do? What pieces do we have now that we want to hold on to? And more important than that, how many retentions should we fight for? because that's the one thing that's going to happen. When you have this IPL council, teams that do well will want to retain 5, 6, 7 players. Teams that don't do well will want more players to go out. And so what you're going to have is somewhere there's going to be a very heated discussion as to how this is going to go, because a lot of people are saying that the IPL, to have the teams have a continuity and character, they need to allow them to retain more than 3 or 4 players.
Yes.
So that's the discussion that's happening. And obviously, if you're Rajasthan, you're going to say, I want to retain 8 players, maybe 9 players. And if you're looking at, say, somebody like a Gujarat, perhaps may not want to retain that many.
But, knowing Ashish Nehra and his ways, and yes, the auction will be in mind, but he's not somebody who's going to let go of the remaining games. He's going to fight hard. He's going to make sure that, Virat said play for pride, but Ashish Nehra is somebody who's going to be fighting hard for every game from here on. Strategically, what do you think they'll do different, Paulie?
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I mean, you're obviously looking personnel-wise, what changes can you possibly make the next game, what the conditions are going to be like. It's not the easiest call, but you do know that they will fight. They will fight until there's no mathematical chance. And once there's no mathematical chance, then that's when I think they'll start tinkering and saying, okay, well, let's have a look at this guy, potential for next year. Let's maybe rest this individual. Let's maybe try tinker with combinations. Tavatia, once again, he got himself into a position where you felt like he could go in and get more. But even him, that might be a stage, if you are not qualifying, that's the stage to say, okay, well, who else is on our bench that can maybe have a look and see for 2 or 3 games as to what they can do. So I don't think they'll tinker much for now, particularly the next game. But if things don't go according to plan after it, I think they will.
All right, to sum up today's game, our very own DK has always use of words very well, and this is what he had to say after the game. Started with a cup of tea, and then after about 4 overs, I thought I wasn't going to bat. I wasn't padded up. I wasn't mentally ready. I was just chilling, and then things happened, and I had to pad up. I was a touch late, but managed to make it. This is what DK said. Well, typical DK.
So DK, this is just DK doing DK things.
Yes.
Goes out there and then smashes, somebody like a Rashid Khan for 14, just makes sure that everyone's pulse is, brought down, makes sure things happen, then goes back perhaps to his cup of tea. That's DK.
But our CB office was all rooting for him. They had faith in him, and they knew he's going to bring RCB home. You could see the commotion outside, Paulie. Were you aware that this is the commotion in Cricbuzz usually?
Well, my eyes were open to a different dimension as to how the support goes on behind the scenes. But I think the impressive thing, from DK's perspective is, when you're out of the game, you're not playing that many games of cricket domestically, and you go into the big stage, you sometimes worry, well, can I still deal with those pressure situations? And what we've seen from him 3 times now
Yes.
is he's been able to just suck it up and deliver. So that's impressive, and that goes to a strong mental state where he's in. And we'll have to wait and see. He said, listen, this is maybe my last throw of the dice.
You never know.
Maybe he'll be enticed to stick around.
I wouldn't be surprised, Joyda, back in throwing his name into the hat.
Yeah, it's like, Sean Connery was asked that, why the film Never Say Never Again was made? Why it had that title? Because he said, I'll never do another James Bond role. And then, of course, he did it again. He was paid so much money, he came and did it. And so, therefore, the film was titled Never Say Never Again. Similarly, the Eagles had this album called Hell Freezeth Over, because, the band members fought with each other so much that they said that, we'll only get together when hell freezes over. So, that's the kind of thing. So, will DK play again? Never say never again.
Well, never say never again. Our very own James Bond, Dinesh Karthik, is very cool. There were a whole lot of cool moments today. Let's have a look at the carrier room air conditioner's coolest moment of the match. Paulie, Joyda, when it is a small score you're chasing and it's so thrilling, we're bound to have many cool moments. Do you all have yours?
I think the coolest moment for me was Noor Ahmed's wicket of Virat Kohli. For a young kid growing up, you would have watched a lot of Virat, and you always, when you get to play against these big players, you think, could it be the one who knocks him over? And it was a great delivery. He was one where you couldn't read whether it was coming in or going away. Gets that little edge. And at that stage, it actually got his team into the game. So I thought that was the coolest moment for me.
Look, I'll go with an old classic. First over Virat.
The 6. The straight 6.
And not only that, 6, not only it's a 6, he holds his pose because, they may be 15,000 cameras that have not got that exact moment. So, give it that 1 extra second pause so that everyone can get that exact picture. That's like classic Virat.
Classic Virat, and then also that flick down the leg, which was, the one straight was classic for the photographers, and then that flick down the leg was absolutely stunning as well. Let's have a look at what you all have written in and what your coolest moments for the day are. The first one, Utkarsh Tyagi says, Virat Kohli's lofted cover drive for a 6 on the second ball of the innings, sheer class. Definitely the coolest moment of the match. Completely agree with you, Utkarsh. Next up, Keith Patel says, seeing amazing and consistent line length and intent from the Bengaluru bowlers throughout the innings was extremely cool to see. I'm sure Paulie will agree there because that's what he was talking about from the word go. Let's have a look at the number 3rd. Gilfred says, Bengaluru's fearless brand of cricket keeping playoffs alive is his coolest moment of the match.
And it would be not cool of you to say that there is no chance of the playoffs.
Yes. Joy, don't
do that to them.
Be uncool.
Joy, don't do that to them.
Okay.
Oh, he's gone mum. He suddenly went mum. But okay, if at all, who could it be? GT or RCB from here?
Look, to reach on 14, you need higher run rate. So if you tell me now, I'd say that if 14 was in anywhere an opportunity of reaching there, RCB probably has a better chance of reaching higher run rate.
They also look like they're playing the better cricket now.
Yes.
They've come off 3 or 4 decent performances. So if there was one of them that's going to have a chance, I'd say the RCB.
All right. You all have heard it there. Like Joyda said, if at all anyone, it's RCB. Paulie agrees as well. They're playing better cricket. So thank you for writing in. We always like it when you all write in. These are our carrier room air conditioners coolest moments of the match. Tomorrow is also going to be a very cool day because there are 2 very cool matches, and one match is in a cooler location as well because the first match, Chennai take on Punjab in Dharamshala. From all the heat that's happening, we are moving to a cooler place in Dharamshala. That's the first match that takes place tomorrow. Both these teams just played against each other and they'll come back and play against each other again. Joyda, the last game, we all know what Punjab's doing. They clearly seem to be liking playing against Chennai, and they've done it again, beaten
5
them.
in a row.
Yeah, 5 in a row.
They are like Chennai's kryptonite, and they're the one, they're the green kryptonite of Chennai. But no, on a serious note, that's one side to it. The other side to it was that in 2010, Chennai almost didn't qualify for the playoffs. Their crucial match was at Dharamshala. Dhoni hits 54 of 28 odd balls, 12 in the last over, hits 2 sixes of Irfan Pathan and seals it. So Dharamshala is a place where they are used to sealing their playoff berths. And I think they look at it on that side of history and say that this is our opportunity. And you see, the point of it is, if you see where they are in the table, Punjab, I think, is playing that they were 2 and 6. They really had a bad home run. But after that, they've won in Chennai and they've also had the opportunity now. This is a new home ground, but in some ways it's an away ground because they haven't, they're also visiting it for the first time. They're also going and playing there for the first time. So it's an away ground for them. Chennai, actually, Punjab plays better away than at home normally. And Chennai has a great record in Dharamshala. Some very important matches they've won there. So I think it's a very 50-50 opportunity.
Well, Paulie, Joyda is saying that part of the history, but if you go to recent history and the last match, Chennai's bowling was a concern with Chahar going out with a hammy. Probably won't be seeing him in. Patirana was not well. Patirana had a niggle. Tushar Deshpande had the flu. So what are the changes you're looking at?
Yeah, well, for me, it was funny because about 3 days before that game, I was discussing with people back home and I was saying that these guys, for me, have got the best balanced squad from a bowling perspective because you had Chahar, you had Deshpande up front. They're wonderful exponents of swing bowling. They get the ball to move. If there's anything on offer, they will put you under pressure. And then you've got Patirana and the Fizz. Anyone who you want to bring in at the back end with regards to cutting it and the death
Fizz
bowling.
Unfortunately be going away.
Yeah, they're all. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They are so well balanced, but now all of a sudden there's some spanners that have been thrown in. You've got the spin options, the 3 spin options that you could have gone to, and you've also got the couple of all-rounders who can play their part, Shardul Thakur. So he gave a bit of the balance. I mean, you got Jadeja, you got Moeen Ali, Theekshana. I mean, they've got all bases covered.
Yes.
And then I go and watch the game. I turn it on and it's like, well, where's he? He's not available. He's sick. This one's off to go and get a visa. This one pulls up after 2 deliveries for a groin injury. And you look around and you think to yourself, well, it all of a sudden becomes a very weak bowling lineup. So we're going to have to see what they produce tomorrow. I think that's the big challenge of who have they got back from the visa,
Yes.
who have they got back from a fitness perspective, from an illness perspective, and who can they put in the park? Because if they get their best, I think they're one of the best around.
We can have a look at Punjab.
But Deshpande is definitely
Yes.
coming back. Pathirana is therefore available for selection, so is Theekshana. So that probably solves it, which means that, Chahar has to go out. Probably Tushar Deshpande comes in. There's a chance they'll have to play Mukesh Chaudhary because the conditions out
Or
there...
Simarjeet.
Because the problem is that the ground is a very small ground. So spinners tend to travel. So other than somebody like a Pathia, Theekshana, you don't expect too many spin options to be used out there. So let's see who they go with because that's going to be interesting. And are they going to stick with Samir Rizvi? Because they've given him that opportunity.
Yes.
He's not really made the most of his opportunity, but I can't see where they're going to go without him.
Yeah, Gleeson came in the last game, but geez, boy, have they missed Conway. I mean, I looked at the stats of last year. How brilliant was he at the top of the order?
Really missed
Then
him.
Rituraj is
He hasn't quite hit his straps. So, they've always been talking as well, which is a strange thing for CSK, is that later into this tournament, they've been discussing we haven't really found our right combination.
Yeah.
And that's not often the case when you
Yes,
think about CSK.
We'll have a look at Punjab because for them, their batters have come to the party. We were talking about how their overseas batters not doing well, but then Besto put his hand up, Riley Russo put his hand up. The uncapped Indians have been doing well all through this season. So the batting looks good for Punjab. On the bowling side, Arshdeep, they'd like him, not to be so expensive. And Harpreet Brah's been very good. Do you see any changes for tomorrow, Joyita?
Actually, I don't, because I think Chahar has done well for them. Chahar was being dropped, and it was a big message, for a player that senior to be dropped, a guy who's played India to be dropped. I think he's done well for them. What's also happened is that top three, Besto, Russo, Prabhsimran, that's stabilized. See, what had they got going for them? The only thing that got going for them was Ashutosh and Shashank in that middle order, because Jitesh has also been completely out of sorts. So now that these two have stabilized and the top three have stabilized, their batting has got something. And now with Chahar bowling well, Rabada, remember, has a fantastic record against Dhoni. Rabada is looking also good. This pitch will, to a certain extent, suit him. The ball's going to fly because it is altitude. But it does suit him to a certain extent. And I'm really looking forward. He's also, before the World Cup, just getting into the kind of shape that even South Africa will be very happy with.
Paulie, do you see them holding back Rahul Chahar again for Dhoni? They did that in the last match. It's a surprise for everyone.
Well, I think they could, but I think Dhoni's been coming in so late. You can't wait right until that stage. You've got to get him a little bit earlier. And I get the matchups, and I love the matchups. But also, if you're a quality bowler, you can sometimes come a little bit earlier. Don't only be held for one particular role. So it's going to be a challenge. As Joy says, it's altitude, that ball flies there. So you might have to try all your options earlier rather than later because of the nature of someone's bound to disappear. But from the South Africans, I'm good to see KG kind of finding a little bit of form, because as we look around, the rest of my bowlers aren't going all that well as we head towards that SA team in the T20 World Cup.
Is he a player to watch out for tomorrow?
He's definitely. I want to see how KG goes. I'm excited to see him firsthand here, and let's see if he can have impact. He actually bowled quite nicely in the World Cup game that they had there in the initial part of his spell. So I think he enjoys that ground in general.
And for CSK?
For CSK, at the top of the order, we've discussed all the bowlers. I suppose I'll be desperate to see who ends up playing. But at the top of the order, I want to see if they can fire. That's always been, over the years, if you think of the opening partnerships that they've been able to put together, if one of them can kick off and get a big score.
So which one, Paulie?
Well, Gakwad, he's been really good, hasn't he? So I'll see if his form can continue. But whoever partners him, I hope they come good as well.
Joyada, for you?
Johnny Bairstow up front for Punjab. He's so important to them. And when he's imposed his will on the batting, it has made a difference. Because, they were not getting runs of the top. So they were, one or two matches their middle order was rescuing. Now, Johnny Bairstow is there. He's sort of putting pressure on the bowlers. And I think his is very important. On the other side, yes, Rituraj is obviously one of the logical choices. But I also want to see Ravindra Jadeja fire, because now they're having to bat him earlier, because that space vacated by Ambati Raidu was never properly filled. Shubhesh Raina, Ambati Raidu, that middle order is no longer there. So he's being forced to play at 4. And because the South Africans, New Zealanders have not done well this time, there's a lot more pressure on him. I think they need Jadeja in full form.
All right, we'll wait and watch. But tomorrow is a Super Sunday, so we have to have a look at the second game as Lucknow take on KKR as match number 54. It's happening in Lucknow. Number 2 taking on number 3 tomorrow, and both these teams coming off wins. They've both beaten Mumbai. And for Lucknow, we'll have a look at Lucknow's squad first. And talk about Lucknow here. They're at 12 and KKR is at 14. So KKR win this, they go to the top of the table.
Absolutely, because KKR's run rate is fantastic. So KKR, if they win this, they definitely go to the top of the table, and they'll be gunning to go to the top of the table. Also, it's a pretty emotional encounter, given the fact that the mentor for Lucknow last year was Gautam Gambhir. So there's a little bit out there to talk about. A lot of the players who Gautam Gambhir selected for Lucknow will be playing on the other side.
So we'll have a look at Lucknow first then. For Lucknow, KL Rahul has been coming good with the runs. Stoinis at 3 has worked for them. Puran's been getting the runs as well. And the big one there is Mayank Yadav is not going to be fit. So they'll miss him dearly.
Yeah, they will. That's a shame. When you as a player, you get into these big tournaments, you want to try and be injury-free because get to show off your skills as much as you can. So that's unfortunate for them. Stoinis has been good. I must admit, when he got that 100, I thought, that's a bit overdue. He's been around for a while. He hasn't really been able to hit his straps. So it was good to see him follow it up with another decent performance. What did he get, 60-odd 62 in the last game? So, I think he's really settled into that spot. And it's kind of given them a bit more solidity. KL Rahul's been good. And I think he's put behind him the disappointment of not being in that World Cup. And he's just focusing on trying to do the best job he can. So they are looking a little bit more settled because things weren't looking overly good. I followed them. There's the 3 South African boys in the backroom staff there. So I just followed to see how they go. And there wasn't that many smiles from them. But over this last little period, they've all of a sudden feel like everything's coming together.
Well, Joyda, with you and KKR, we saw what they did the other night against...
But even here, there's another one that you're probably going to see, which is that De Kock will probably come back. So word is De Kock comes back and Yash Thakur probably takes Mayank Yadav's place.
Yes. Yash Thakur's also got a 5-4, so he'll be happy to come back and play at Lucknow. See, that's what a good team is. He got a 5-4, but when they got a bowler back who was an impact bowler, they got him back. Yes.
And I think that's one of the things. So Ekana suits the kind of bowling also somebody like Yash Thakur does. So yes, this is a very, very good team. It's a well-coached team and it's looking good right now.
KKR is looking very good as well, Joyda.
Don't encourage him. Don't encourage him. He'll tell you that they're playing good. Do not encourage him.
No, he's here. We have to make the most of Joyda and KKR, don't we? But again, Shreyas was very impressive as a captain the other night. Things just seeming to be falling into place for them. He'll be very happy and high on confidence, beating Mumbai in Mumbai after 12 long years. So he'll be coming in high on confidence.
Absolutely. And also the fact that different people are putting up their hands. Phil Salt has got... the 2 players who were regarded as their gun batsmen, Rinku Singh and him, Shreyas Iyer, the captain, they are the 2 who haven't actually been among the runs. Everyone else has performed for them, even including somebody like a Manish Pandey who came in as a sub after 6 years batting for KKR and got 42 very important runs. Venkatesh Iyer has got runs for them. Leave alone Phil Salt and Sunil Narayan. Andre Russell has had a couple of good innings. Everybody has scored. That's important for them. Similarly, the bowlers.
Yes.
The spin twins, 4, 11, 22 to both of them last match. And what that means, you've got those 2. That's a solid base. Then you've got yourself Harshit Rana, who's going to come back from that rather stupid suspension, I thought. So I think they've got all their weapons. They'll say top of the table because right now, the only thing both the coaches would be discussing with their captains and their teams would be saying, we want that extra chance. We've got to end up 1 or 2.
Yes.
I think 2 important things for me was the 4 overs from Russell. We don't often see him do the 4 overs. So the fact that he stepped up. And then the other thing is that in these tournaments, as a change room, you've got to have a belief that you can win from different scenarios. So if you post a high score, that you can win. But I think that victory against Mumbai, they didn't get as much as they should have. And in many ways, Mumbai would have felt comfortable chasing that 160.
Yes.
And they should have got over the line. So to win as comfortably as they did in the end and absorb that pressure, Those are vitally important for teams in their campaigns, to know that even if you post something that's maybe not formidable, we're still good enough a unit to be able to defend it.
Yeah, the interesting thing is that, normally you don't want teams to be playing. I mean, they literally played in Mumbai. They would have taken a flight yesterday, landed late, they wouldn't have practiced at all, gone straight, would come in tomorrow. You'd say that, that's a really taxing schedule. It is in a way. But when you're winning, sometimes it's not such a bad thing to play twice in 48 hours. You literally say, okay, I'm on, bang, on, next game, let's get it on. So while the high is still there, just go and play. So sometimes, we should look at schedules and say, if you win this match, the next match is going to be an easier match. It's just going to be in the flow. If you lose it, then things get tougher. Then you feel the tiredness much more.
So your players to watch out for then, for both these teams?
Okay, let's have a think. I want to say Russell. I still haven't really felt like we've seen him fire, a big innings from him. And then I want to also, from an international perspective in Lucknow, I'm thinking if you're saying Quinton's coming back, I obviously love him as a left-hander at the top of the order. So I'd like to see how he goes.
No surprise there that he's gone with Quinton. For you, Joyda?
I think for them, it's important that, for Lucknow, it'll be very important that Nicky Puran attack the spin duo, because he's got the footwork and the ability to be able to, hit them and take toll of them. So I think Nicky Puran, for me, definitely we're looking at from a Lucknow point of view. From a Kolkata point of view, I think just Sunil Narine needs to keep going. He's the most valuable player this year. He just that. And when Sunil is on a roll, he's on a roll. So right now he is.
All right, then he's on a roll and Joyda's on a roll every day with the questions he asks us. So let's have a look at the joy factor and see who's gotten it the quickest.
Which World Cup were you talking about?
I am going to tell you, the World Cup I'm talking about is not a cricket World Cup. It's a football World Cup in 1994. And Romario, the Brazilian striker, was very famous. Romario Shepherd is the person I'm talking about. Obviously, he's playing this right now in this league.
Did anyone get it? Because that was a trick
was
question.
when I remember when they used to commentate on him. Here you go, when you score a goal, they go, Romario! And they don't stop, but they keep going and
He's got it perfect. Yeah, it just goes on and on. Brilliant. I hope the answer goes on and on. Who's got it?
Let's see who's got the answer right.
Harjas,
didn't Harjas get one yesterday as well? This has to be Joyda's account. This was too tricky a question to be answered, Harjas. This doesn't seem very legit. Joyda, what is the secret here?
I think we also need to get to the bottom of how quickly these answers come in.
Yes. Maybe we should put the timing next time.
Like within 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour.
No, I hope this question made them think for at least 5 minutes. I'm hoping at least.
Yes, because this was quite a tricky one. Yeah. So this is, Harjas is seeming a little... Please write into us, Harjas, and tell us your authenticity and tell us that you're not Joy Bhattacharya with another account. We need to see your Aadhaar card and your PAN card and stuff like that.
What year was did you put the year in there?
No, I didn't.
So what year was it?
94.
94. Goodness gracious, I just finished school. How was I supposed to know this?
All right, I just finished school as well that time. So
what, in 2 years you were taking wickets for Warwickshire?
Yeah.
And South Africa.
Okay, I finished my varsity now.
So we were still very young when you asked us this question, which is why we're a little inexperienced in the guessing game, Joyda.
I was still very young. WG Grace was batting when I was still very young.
I think I've been bad luck for the guessing game. Ever since I've been here, no one's won. That's 2 days tomorrow. In 2 games, we'll get it right.
If no one wins, Gaurav Kapoor just keeps staying up there.
We can't have that. We
can't let that happen. No, with that smile of his, and he sent us messages saying it's very lonely up at the top and many more comments. I thought we had put in a petition to cancel today's prediction, but clearly no one is listening to us. No one is listening to the experience of Mr. Bhattacharya. No one's listening to a world-class Shaun Pollock saying that just cancel this game. But this is how it is here.
I'm going to have to go and have a rethink about this. My strategy.
Exactly.
And strategy for tomorrow is going to be key because we're in for a double header. So if we lose all 4, it's really bad news. We can't afford to because the percentage really falls down. So I think all 3 of us should go get some sleep and get our strategies ready for tomorrow because all 3 of us will be here tomorrow.
Well, if RCB and GT have got a mathematical chance of still making it, then I reckon I'm all right. Maybe I'll come good at some stage.
Okay, I think Joyda is jotting down his points on how to ace the prediction game.
The hardest thing is tomorrow's Dharamshala. We've got no points of reference this season.
No point.
Absolutely.
So it's going to be a bit of a thumbs up.
Mikara Stadium is one of those stadiums where you either have a 200 game or you have this really slow pitch.
And it's a little unfair. We don't know which pitch they're going to play on when we make our decisions. So just too many worries. So I think we will go home and try and figure out how to solve these problems. We will be joining you all tomorrow at 3 p.m. because it's going to be a super Sunday. Thank you very much, Polly Kaka. Thank you very much, Joy Kaka. And thank you so much for everyone who watched. We will see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. Good night and goodbye.
Jaipur via Kota.
कृपया ध्यान आपो अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವವರೆಗೆ
Hyderabad Superfast Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন। कृपया ध्यान दें